Welcome to the Gritcast, where we get into the nitty-gritty of all things hockey. From the East to the West Coast. Here are your hosts, Matt Pierce, Nikosh Ganguly, and Darius Dominguez.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Gritcast. Last week on the Gritcast, it was 12 degrees outside. Today, in Mississauga, there's a snowstorm. Matt, how's the weather today and how are you doing?
It's cold and I don't like it. It was like minus 21 this morning outside. But inside it's warm and I appreciate that. This week we're discussing the fallout with the Ridley Gregg and Morgan Riley incident, as everyone has seen, discussed, argued, called each other names.
Probably too
Darius, far too much. Darius, what's going on over in your territory?
Well, after, I guess, a slow start to the season, the grade 8 is closing in on the grade 1. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see,
nice.
if he can catch up. I mean, he's only 60 away, and I'm sure we're going to get into it. But I don't know, he's caught up or he's catching up. It's going to be fun to watch. Nick, how you doing, buddy?
Honestly, I'm on reading week, guys. I could not
so
be happy.
you're good.
Must be nice.
Like,
You're good.
Diving into it just a little bit. We talked about this last week. I was on the assignment grind basically since last Tuesday. Like, even when we were playing like NHL stuff, I'm like, dude, I should really not be doing this. But it's all good. We locked in. I got everything done. So basically for the next week and a half, I'm finally free to do like personal projects, passion projects that I've been like pushing off because school does it, people. But yeah, that's cool. But in the hockey realm of things, the Blue Jackets finally kicked Jarmo Kekalainen to the curb. Took too long. We'll see what happens with some other front office moves in Columbus. Will be interesting to see. But you know what? I think we should dive right into Morgan Riley and Ridley Gregg. That'll be the first thing we'll tackle, because if you've been on social media lately, or you watch or you consume any other hockey media, you've heard about every take that needs to be had on this topic. I think what we're gonna do is air our grievances. I'm interested to hear from Matt, because he's not a Leafs fan. He's unbiased in this position. Most of the takes I've heard have been from these fans in the media, or the unbiased takes I've heard have been a little egregious, but maybe it's because I'm biased. Who knows? But Matt, what are your overall thoughts on the really great? You don't need to break down what happened. Everyone knows what happened.
Okay.
What is your take on the suspension and the overall narrative following the incident?
The suspension, you guys might not agree with it. I think 5 games is the right amount. You don't need to go any lesser or any higher with it. But when it comes to both Gregg and Morgan Riley, I think both. At the start, I thought, okay, Morgan Riley was completely in the wrong, but I think both were in the wrong. Like Gregg, you don't need to show up your opponents, even though it's a rivalry game. There is still technically a code that needs to be followed. He did a little too much in the dying seconds of a game. Sure, heat of the moment thing, but yeah, it was a little too much, even on both sides. Like cross check to the face. Yeah, you don't really need to do that. You can just drop the gloves. But yeah, both are wrong. Both are wrong.
Curious?
Two things can be true, like Matt said. I think what Riley did in cross-checking him in the face is not good. And I think Ridley Gregg taking a slap shot from the crease into an empty net with 5 seconds left is also not good. However, I think this whole thing, and the biases are really showing on this, because if this was not a Toronto Maple Leaf and he cross-checked Ridley Gregg in the teeth, everyone would be like, well, yeah, don't take a slap shot on an empty net. Just don't do that. And I hate to be, because there's like so many takes this week, so many different sides, and it's going to happen with something like this, especially when it involves the Leafs, right? And I don't mean to be the guy that, like, if you've never played, you wouldn't understand, but there's something about going after a guy after he does something stupid like that, like taking a slap shot into an empty net, that just like actually feels right. I'm not saying you should have cross-checked him in the face, but there had to be a response of some type. And I'm sure he didn't mean to cross-check him in the face. It's just the fact that he did, right? I'm sure he was trying to get him lower, but like what happened, and he's going to get suspended. On the suspension side of things, 5 games is egregious, maybe 2. And I think the fact that there is no precedent, maybe 2. There's no precedent set, and that's the league's problem. And I'm sure we will get into it too. It was leaked. This was handled like my hockey league growing up. Like, this was terrible. The whole process was terrible, and it's because it's the Leafs. And if you say it's not, it's because you hate the Leafs. That's what it is, right? So let's just put everything out there. And also, before I wrap this up, and I'm sure we'll move along, which one is it, guys? Are the Leafs a dirty team? Or are they soft? Which one is it? Because you can't sit on the fence on this topic.
Well,
They're the most suspended team since 2017.
We gotta make hockey violent again, and then get body checked by guys 5'9".
Yeah, I know, but that's also a cherry pick thing too. Like, if you take that at if you watch the actual clip of Reeves saying that, like, he's not like super serious, like, kill guys, you know, like, so obviously, like, he's not a fast skater. And I know the guy's small, but like, shit like that's gonna happen. You can't cherry pick shit like that. I'm not trying to defend Ryan Reeves, but come on. I feel like we're cherry picking shit because it's the Leafs.
No, I agree. From my point of view, I'm kind of in between the takes of you two. And to be honest, I wasn't watching the game, so obviously I saw it after. But yeah, you took a slap shot into an empty net. I thought it was funny, and I thought the response was even funnier. Because it was interesting seeing, like, because that clip blew up outside of hockey Twitter. Like, there was, like, just people being like people who don't watch hockey being like, damn, hockey's fucking crazy.
It was on the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah, you just see Morgan Riley turn the corner and fucking run the guy over, which was crazy. But to the point of the overall NHL department player safety, we all know it's trash. Like, they don't know what they're doing. And when you bring in a Leafs event, it seems to heighten all these disparities that come from the Department of Player Safety. Like, you have certain plays, like, I think, who was it, Jacob Trouba, that baseball swung at the guy's head or something.
It happened again 2 nights ago at the time we're recording this. It happened again. Somebody got slashed in the head, and it was a fine.
Yeah. So, which is interesting. But I think in a people are like, in a vacuum, Morgan Riley, this might warrant 4 or 5 games, whatever he got. But the issue is, like you said, Darius, there's no precedence. They make these rules so vague. They don't set any precedents, so they can just really, you know, inmates run the asylum. They can do whatever the fuck they want, it seems like. So it's an interesting thing, the fallout, and like you said, it getting leaked by Kevin Weeks was also pretty crazy, because apparently he knew before the Leafs knew. So
like Department of Player Safety, like, these rulings are never leaked.
Exactly.
Like, never.
But
leaked.
that okay, so that's why I brought it up, because this is the other thing too. Forget the incident and the whole lead up to it, which also they took 3 days, which they never do. Also, that, like, it was announced during the game, the next Leafs game. That, like, is ridiculous. And I was expecting, like, the NHL PR or whatever account it is to tweet it out, just waiting for that tweet, right? Because that's normally where you would get this information. And then Kevin Weeks is like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be 5 games for Riley," and it's like, how did you get that? How do you know this? And then we, you know, come to find out that the Leafs didn't even know about this. Like, it's such a Mickey Mouse operation. It's a Mickey Mouse league. It's so obvious now. It's so obvious now. Like, growing up, you don't really see it, but compared to other leagues, like how things are handled, it is such a Mickey Mouse league, and there's no surprise that it's falling behind in the U.S.
Yeah, and to your point, I think Alan Walsh was like, he always, what's he called, the kangaroo card or something?
Kangaroo court.
I don't remember. Yeah, kangaroo court. Like, he's right. It's kind of embarrassing the way things are run then day. But to like, I don't want to talk about this segment for 30 minutes. I think everyone's heard about it enough. Like, it was interesting. I heard some people talking about, like, oh, they're covering the Morgan Riley special like it's the O.J. Simpson trial, and it's like it did get an obscene amount of coverage compared to other suspensions. And
because
Matt,
it's a Leaf.
Matt, my question for you is, if this was like Ridley Gregg and, like, unknown player from Minnesota, what do you think? Number one, how do you think this changes the narrative, and do you think this changes the amount of games, from your opinion, as a non-Leafs fan?
I think it does. Yeah, like, it's the Toronto overblown, just because it's the Leafs, one of, like, the top media markets in the league, one of the biggest fan bases, and like you said, the Department of Player Safety, I hate to say it, they kind of have a bias against the Leafs, even though it's George PARROS. There's that photo of him on the ice. Who was it? Colton Orr. Colton Orr. Yeah, I think
destroyed him. And you're not just saying that, Matt. There was a chart this week on Twitter. The Leafs and the Bruins are the most suspended teams since PARROS took over. What are we doing here? The Leafs, the whole narrative since that season about the Leafs is that they're soft. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
one or the other, guys. Like, we can't just keep doing this.
Yeah,
it is.
if it was Ridley Gregg against, I don't know, like a Shark, and Shark goes up and cross checks him, yeah, that would be minimum like
A game
it'd
or
be a
two.
game. It'd be one game.
I'm
That's
telling
all
you,
it would
it would
be.
be a game or two. That's all it is. And I'm sick
But
and tired of this narrative of Department of Player Safety making an example out of the Leafs. There is no example. It just continues to happen. And then, like, if something happens in the playoffs, they spin a wheel and they're like, "Yeah, it's a fine this time." Like, there's nothing to it.
I don't see how you can say it's making an example when there's no consistency.
No.
So how are you making an example out of something when you're not using said example to make your next decision? So that doesn't make any sense. Of course.
yeah, it's like an enforcer like a former enforcer as the head of Department of Player Safety. Like that makes no sense. That'd be like when Draymond Green retires and the NBA makes him the head of their player safety.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
That's exactly
Exactly a great comparison.
like that makes no sense. A guy who wasn't, I don't know, safe to begin with in the league, who had one purpose, and that was just to, protect the others on his team. And now he's like the head of making sure everyone's safe.
He's the one telling
And
people what they can't do.
and there's no one that's kept safe.
Nope.
Nobody.
Nope.
The funniest thing about all of this to me is the people comparing it to the Dale Hunter thing, because you seek help if you actually think that they are comparable.
I tweeted that.
Yeah,
I
no.
tweeted that.
What, that they're comparable?
Well, it was pretty much like a knockoff Dale Hunter. I didn't like compare it directly. It was just
Okay,
think
what
they're the same
I
thing,
mean is,
Darius.
like, the
You can do
situation
that.
itself is not much different, but what I'm saying is to suspend him as much as Dale Hunter, like, the situation
no.
is completely different.
No.
That's what I'm saying. The whole narrative
No.
to suspend him as much as Dale Hunter. I'm not saying that the actual incident didn't look the same, because it does physically, right? The other thing too that nobody's really
the difference between the Hunter incident and like the Ridley Gregg incident is like Pierre Turgeon was never the same player after that incident because he was injured, and I think he missed 6 playoff games, whereas Ridley Gregg got right back up.
It got right back up, and Morgan Riley is not a dirty player. Dale Hunter is not a clean player, and like it was game 6 of a deciding playoff series into an empty net. He didn't do a slap shot into an empty net. Like, there's different variables, but anyway, that's over the top. But one thing a lot of people are not talking about now is Ridley Gregg doing that. Like, I'm not going to say he has a target on his back, but I feel like the perception around the league of him has completely changed now. The players are not going to respect him. And I think that's something he probably didn't even think of in the moment. But I have, like, genuinely never seen a slap shot, besides the video games, never seen a slap shot into an empty net like that before. Like, that is so disrespectful. And I know people that have never played the game will look at it and be like, what? He just wanted to make sure the puck went in the net. No. There should absolutely be a response to that. Not a cross check in the head, but there should have been absolutely a response to that.
I think, as someone who wants hockey to grow in general, I like stuff like that because it's funny. Not like the narrative about like it doesn't matter, like it's just another shot. I think that's something else. That's just not right. But you know what? As someone, I think for all of us who enjoys a little bit of the drama behind sports, whether you're watching like basketball, football, baseball, like everyone likes a little bit of theatrics, I might say. I think it's cool, and it's cool that it warrants a response. I'm not saying it's good that a guy got basically cross-checked in the head, like with head injuries and stuff like that. And I also think, Darius, you have a good point about a target being on his back. I think that all makes for great TV, because as much as we love watching sports, you need to have a storyline before each game. The games can't exist in a vacuum. You need to bring in something. And if Ridley Gregg is going to be that guy that becomes the next big rat everyone fucking despises in the NHL, I'm here for it, because the league needs something, man. They need something to advertise, to grow. And I don't know if Ridley Gregg's going to be the guy that puts hockey on America's map, because he's like, first of all, he plays in Ottawa, and Ottawa's not that good. But, stuff like that I don't hate. And Darius, I understand your sentiment for being that, like, it deserves a response. But I don't think it doesn't need to happen necessarily, just because from a business and a marketing standpoint.
I get that. And I think it can continue to happen. There's things that are disrespectful that happen all the time in the playoffs, whenever, right? And like you said, like Matthew Tkachuk, he got, like, who he is in this, like, aura around him is based off that kind of thing, right? So, like, yes, those things can happen. I'm just saying, don't be like, oh my God, there was a response. Whoa,
all he did was shoot it into the net. I'm like, listen.
No, that's just like downplaying it. Like,
That's just
no, at that point, I
disregarding-
think you're acting stupid.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you're insulting my intelligence because it's like, come on, man, we all saw the same video. Like, you can't honestly.
You're disregarding
think
context.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't do
yeah,
that
yeah,
in
yeah.
sports. Matt,
Now,
sorry.
I got one last question. I know we've been on this topic for a long time to open the show, but one last question here. It'll be at least what, 8 months before the next Battle of Ontario?
Yes.
How much will the momentum will it die off a little bit?
Yep.
Will it lessen?
Yep.
Just because of the lack of scheduling, because the NHL stupid when it comes to scheduling within the division, because they try to promote rivalries and like, okay, you will only play that team in your division 3 times. So will the momentum, will the bad blood sort of dissipate?
I think you'll get like a fight. Maybe.
It won't. It'll be there because Riley will be there, and I assume Ridley Gregg would still be on the Sens, so there will still be something there. But I think it would have been better if they still played each other one more time this year.
I think you're gonna get a lot of hype from SportsCenter tees saying whoever's
Yeah.
showing the game, they're gonna get crazy video packages and all this shit. Like, ooh, what's gonna happen? They'll get maybe one fight and then nothing else will happen, in my opinion.
But that's
Will
hockey.
Ryan
But
Reeves
that's
do
hockey.
something?
Well, yeah.
Ryan
yeah,
Reeves hasn't
exactly.
fought since October. By
Yeah.
the way.
But that's hockey. Someone will fight, or there will be a fight, and that's it. Like it's
Yep.
you're good, right? And that's kind of what I don't know. I kind of like that about hockey. It's like, hey, you did something stupid, you fight, and then that's it. Like you're done, right? Just move on.
There's been some games that have gotten out of hand because of rivalries, but it's
Yeah.
just more like number one, the refs not doing their job and just too much shit going on. But yeah, I could see like a
Well,
fight maybe.
arguably, that's part and reason why this one happened. I feel like because the game did kind of get out of hand at the end because there was, missed calls. Guys get frustrated, right? So
No, it's the thing where it's like, oh shit, we're down by 2 with a minute left. We're not gonna win. Just fucking do whatever you want. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
that too. Yeah. Well, I mean,
So-
the Panthers did that last year, and everyone was like, "Yeah, the Panthers! Look at this great story. They're moving on to the final, all that stuff." And they did the same thing. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna lose. Let's beat the shit out of
Yeah,
everyone."
beat the shit up. What
Yeah.
are you gonna do? Send me to the penalty box? Like I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah, the game's over.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take
I
this
really
guy's
don't
leg
care.
out. Yeah, he'll never
Yeah.
skate again.
And then
Yeah.
I'm gonna shake his hand.
I'm gonna shake your hand.
Only sport.
Anyway,
the only sport. It's crazy.
Let's put a bow on this. The Leafs are in, they're playing Philly tonight.
Yeah.
Philly just announced a new captain, Sean Couturier. Congratulations to him. And Brad Shilling was supposed to do a press conference. Not happening because Morgan Riley is officially a Philly suspension. I assume it'll be more of a money back thing than he'll get into games earlier then, because by the time all these appeals happen, the suspensions are usually done anyway. So he'll probably.
Did
just
you
sign-
say Treliving is doing a press conference?
No, he isn't anymore.
Oh, okay.
He was scheduled to
I was
do
gonna
one.
say probably don't do that.
Yeah, he was scheduled to do one after the suspension, which is interesting. I can't remember the last time a GM did a whole press conference after suspension was announced. I don't know if that's normal.
I don't think that's definitely not normal, but I don't think
Yeah.
it's a normal case anyway. So
So
do it that.
that
way,
was
well.
gonna happen, but they're appealing. So maybe we'll get a press conference after the appeal. But the appeal might happen after the fucking trade deadline. So who knows?
Next
But
year.
let's move on to the next segment. Let's head over to Darius. Alex Ovechkin has been on a heater. His shooting percentage was a career worst before the All-Star game, and after the All-Star game, it has shot up because that's how regression works. Darius, what's going on in Washington with Ovechkin?
Well, the team, I don't know, the team still kind of stinks. And, like, they started off, like, crazy. We were like, oh, damn, they're second in the Metro. But the Metro's, like, after the Rangers, it's a little crazy. No disrespect to Philly, but come on. Yeah, he's picked it up. He has 6 goals in his last 6 games. And, like you said, he was so unlucky. I don't think he was playing bad. He was just, probably the most unlucky player in the entire league if you look at the stats to start the year. And it looked like, oh, this guy is cooked and he's done and he's not going to break the record. And all of a sudden you're like, oh no, he's only 60 goals away. Like he could score 30 goals for the next 2 years and he'll break the record. Yeah. And I could see him playing and preserving his body. Like I don't think he cares about the playoffs. He has his cup. Washington has his cup, has their cup. And I could see him just preserving his body and playing the next 3 years. He can score 30 goals. I think he can still score 30 goals this year. And we were talking about how he's going to score 10. So it's going to be pretty, I don't know, it's going to be exciting. I think he is so close. How could you just not keep playing until you break it? You know what I mean?
Dude, even if you're completely cooked,
that's what I mean. Just keep
get back out there. Get back out there.
Get in your spot on the power play. You're doing this.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like he's going to do it. It's only a matter of time barring something crazy happens, but I don't know. Think about that. He's 60 goals away from being the best goal scorer of all time. Coming like when he started in the league, it was coming out of like the dead puck era, right? It's still hard to score goals. Like Gretzky, no disrespect, but I mean, the whole narrative he's scoring on plumbers and stuff, right? Like the goalies were terrible back then. Look at who Ovi's putting up goals against. Like some of the greatest goalies of all time. So I don't know. It's special, and like I feel like he was just unlucky. Like I don't think he's completely cooked. Like he's not like he can't skate around and buzz around like he used to.
He's a little cooked.
He's a little cooked. Yeah, but he's not completely in the way of like he can still put the puck in the back of the net. Like he'll be fine. Yeah, I think he'll do it. I think he'll do it.
But for Ovechkin too, he's shooting. His career shooting percentage is like 13%. About he's shooting 8% right now. So you can probably see that come up a little. Like you said, there's last 6 games, 6 goals. Last game against against Colorado, he scored, which is good. 20 minutes of ice time, he's playing well. The point production is crazy, but who cares? You know what I mean? It's gonna be interesting because right now, Ovechkin has 14 goals in 49 games. That gives him 33 games to get 16 more goals.
16 goals, yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're hot in hockey, it's weird because you can look at all the analytics you want, but when you're hot, there's just something about feeling good. Like he can score like a goal a game for the rest of the year. Like it's just I don't know. It's a feel thing.
I think he'll get at least really close to 30 at the minimum.
Like he'll get 25 for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. And the guy is fucking. How old is Ovechkin now?
36, 37?
38.
I think he's
38.
Oh, wow.
38. Yeah. Wow. That's fucked.
Oh yeah, because he was an 04 draft pick. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Because he missed a year to start. Yeah, makes sense.
Another interesting thing from the I think Ovechkin stuff. I know Darius, you talked about his playing the dead puck era. I think no matter what era it is, I know goal scoring is high. It's always gonna be hard to score in the NHL. It's the NHL, right? You're playing against the best of the best. Interesting stat to make it about the Leafs. I think there was a stat that said Austin Matthews has more goals than Ovechkin did in the same time frame, which is cool.
Yeah, he's a higher goals per game than Ovi was at his age.
Yeah, I think what's crazy. I think like people always talk about the Leafs narrative and like, oh, these players get too hyped up. I also think sometimes they get a little downplayed because people are like, oh, you're just a Leafs fan. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. I feel like being on pace with Alex Ovechkin is pretty crazy. And like, just he's the best goal scorer of all time. I just wanted to say that, because it's just honestly it's cool to see at the end of the day. So that's awesome. But we'll follow Ovi's run at Gretzky, and I think he'll get it whenever he does. Might be 2 years from now, but
2026.
Yeah.
He breaks the record.
Yep. And you guys, never mind. I was gonna ask if you guys think Ovi plays in any national tournaments, but
ooh.
Yeah, that might be a.
Why are you guys reacting like that? What happened?
Nothing.
Oh, you didn't know?
No, don't worry about it.
Better call somebody.
Next.
But yeah, good for Ovechkin. That's cool to see. I have him on my fantasy team, and I also have Crosby and McDavid. So yeah, it's an 18 league. It's an 18 league to be fair.
Still.
Oh, I know.
How did that happen?
Ovechkin has been so bad, but my team was shit, so I wasn't starting them. But then McDavid and Ovechkin started turning it on against. I'm like, should I I'll press start team. So yeah, that's cool. But let's move on to the next segment. It's going to be over in Ohio. The Columbus Blue Jackets have finally fired Jarmo Kekalainen. Matt, why was this so warranted, and why did it take so long?
Honestly, it should have happened at the beginning of the season with the Babcock turmoil there, because I mean that was a Jarmo move, and Yarmo's move didn't work out. Should have gone. But yeah, even then, you could point out like over the past few years where he should have been fired. It was time for a change in Columbus. Like there's a report saying most players wouldn't want to go to Columbus just because like the atmosphere, the environment there just wasn't nurturing. And with Yarmo out, I think they have the potential to turn it around. Will they? Probably not. It's Columbus. They're the pinnacle mid franchise in the NHL. But who knows? Who knows what could happen?
Yeah, of course. Darius, where are you seeing down in Ohio?
It was like about time, right? Like I feel like this guy could have got fired like in 2018. Like he hasn't done much with the team. I mean, like he brought in a couple good players and he had like the Panarins and stuff, but they didn't stay. They didn't want to re-sign. So I feel like I don't know. He failed. He didn't make a winner. And look at the way he left the team. This team is like in shambles. And the fact that the whole Babcock thing, like Matt mentioned, like this has been a bad year for them, coming off of a couple bad years. So they're terrible, and I don't know where they're going. Like they have Fantilli, obviously. He's a great young piece, but the rest of the team, like he left it in shambles. There's people wanting trades. They can't find trade partners, even though
Merzlikins, yeah.
Merzlikins, like you can't find a trade partner for a goalie? Why? Like, what's going on with that? Make it happen. I don't know. I just think it's funny how their next game is against the Sharks, so they might win that, and everyone will be like, "Oh,
it's the newly found new GM bump.
I also think their coach isn't good.
Maybe not for that team.
I just don't think he's good.
He's not
Fair
good.
enough. Fair enough.
I just don't think he's good. Now let me just think about some interesting stuff here. We have like Adam Fantilli's out 8 weeks, but you said they have some interesting young guys. A guy like Cole Sillinger, Igor Chinnikov, he's still young, and Fantilli, of course. And on the back end, you have what was it, Juracek? You got David Juracek back there.
Isn't he always like healthy scratched?
No, he got sent down to
because
AHL.
Matt, the coach doesn't know what he's doing.
The coach does
Did you
not
guys
know
see
what he's
that
doing.
he got sent down to the AHL in his first game? He scored a hat trick.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
shit.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's too good for the A.
Yeah, he's an NHL defenseman.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Also, shout out to Patrick Laine. Quickly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. With some.
Did you guys see that whole? Like, I don't want to
Yes.
spend too much time on. Yeah,
Yes.
come on, man.
Yeah,
That's brutal. And good for him for saying something. Good for him.
Yep.
Good for him. I hope he's doing well.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, we should give context. So there was this podcast, the Columbus Blue Jackets podcast, that basically said some pretty heinous things about Laine after he entered the player assistance program. You can kind of put two and two together. I'm not gonna explicitly say what was said, but yeah. Shout out to Laine. It's good that more and more players are openly entering the player assistance program. It's important that you take care of whatever's going on, and yeah, we just hope for the best for Laine, because when Laine's on his game, he's a great player, and I just hope he gets back to that sooner than later. So that's all
Like,
the time.
Even though he's in Columbus, like he's still a fan favorite here in Winnipeg. Like I
Yeah.
still see like
Jets
Line A
fans love him.
jerseys.
Yeah.
Oh, loved him. Yeah.
He's a
And,
good player.
Quickly, there was hold on, I wanted to read you guys a tweet before we end this topic. There was a tweet from Elliot Freeman on the Jeff Merrick show today. He said, one of the names that jumps to his head for the CBJ GM job is Mark Hunter. Rick Nash is there and knows Hunter very well from his London night days. That was a tweet from NHL Watcher. Darius, what do you think about Mark Hunter in Columbus?
I don't think so. I don't know exactly the wording you just said. Was that Friedman that said that?
Yeah.
I don't know the exact wording of which he used, but like I don't know if he's just throwing it out there or he
I
heard
think
something.
he's speculating. It's pure speculation.
I understand
That's
the
all it
link.
is.
I just don't think it happens. I think for Mark Hunter, it was like stay close to home with the Leafs. Didn't work out. So now he's back with the Knights, and the Knights are, dude, the London Knights are like they are the OHL. They are the OHL. Like it is insane what they've built there. So I don't really see him leaving because he's working with his brother in tandem. Like they're doing great there. So I'm sure he enjoys it, and I don't know if he would leave that for the NHL again.
Yeah, that Rick Nat. Yeah, it's kind of grasping at straws.
The thing is,
Like
though,
first thing
any
that comes to
London
mind.
No, of
Yeah.
course. But I think when Elliot Freeman's speculating, he's not just like saying shit.
No, I feel
Like,
like there could be a rumble. Maybe there was a conversation and you heard something.
I
But
think he's heard something that he's not like 100%
Yeah.
credible, that he 100% agrees with, but he's just speculating based on that. But yeah, that's the take on the Blue Jackets. So
Cool.
And there's another Blue Jackets announcement to get into another
Right.
topic, Nick.
right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's
they
going on?
are in they're playing March 1st, your birthday, next year, 2025, the Jackets and the Detroit Red Wings in the Stadium Series at Ohio Stadium.
Nice.
Boo.
Yeah, it's another outdoor game. Yeah, the reason, just to get into it, the reason the NHL wouldn't do an outdoor game at Ohio Stadium is it wasn't like properly fitted for winter conditions, because they mostly run like college football, like the Buckeyes in the fall, and then they shut the stadium down after the first game or the last game because it's such an old stadium, right? They didn't have the proper plumbing, but now they do. And the NHL's like, okay, you guys finally get a game. They threw that bone.
Here's what I think the
This will go
NHL should
well.
do, because like we hear this now and I feel like we're like, okay, cool, and move on. The NHL should go back to one outdoor game a year. It's the Winter Classic. It's on New Year's Day, and it should be between two teams who've never had it until you run out of teams. Because don't the Blackhawks have it at home again next year? Dude, boring. I'm over it.
Yeah, it's Blues Blackhawks at Wrigley. There's already been a
We've
Blues
seen
Blackhawks
the
Winter
Blues and
Classic.
Blackhawks
Thing, though.
outdoors
That's a Bedard
in
thing, though.
Chicago.
That's a Bedard thing. To be fair.
Yeah, but they could have found a different team other
Yeah,
than the
but
Blues.
do Chicago and like dude. Okay, have Chicago then, and have it somewhere else that's never had it or something. You had outdoor games in LA. Figure it out.
Like Minnesota, Chicago, that would have been all right. No, they've already done that.
But they've
Never
already,
mind.
yeah, they did
Oh.
like 2 years ago or last year.
They got, bro. They're gonna just, the reason they pick these good teams is because like they're pouring all this stupid money into making these outdoor games, which suck most of the time. To be honest, the camera angles are worse. The ice is melting. The jerseys suck like 50% of the time.
Most of the
Someone
time.
doesn't even care for jerseys. And it's like, just pick the good. You know what? As I've been ranting about this, you know, I realized I don't care. I really don't care.
But
what
I'm
teams
saying,
are in there or not.
but I'm saying that
I
that is
agree
the
it's good
problem.
for the city. It's good for the city. That's there. But like, if
They're
Chicago wants to
fun.
get
They're fun
10
in person.
If Chicago wants to
Yeah.
get 10 outdoor games in a row, I don't give a fuck. Bedard's there. He's their next. They're lining this guy up. So sure, do it.
They can do good ones. Like I thought, like Toronto and Detroit and Toronto Centennial Classic, like that's good, right? And there's good storylines in the fan base. It could be good for people to watch outside of the two fan bases or in the city. But when you're doing Chicago, especially going into next year, when you're doing Chicago and St. Louis, they stink. Like there's no incentive to watch that game.
Bedard.
It's the only thing on New
There's-
Year's Day.
But like make it. I don't know. I feel like they could do a better job with
That's
it.
the whole thing,
And
though.
I would
It's
rather watch like Seattle this year had the Winter Classic. That's cool. It's never been in Seattle, so I was like, I want to see what that looks like. Tune in, right? Like,
See,
that's the way I
they're-
look at it personally. I don't know if everyone looks at it like that, but I do something new. I don't want to watch the Blues and Chicago outside again. I've seen it.
See, with
Don't
these
watch it then.
games, with these
I
games,
know,
it
I know,
feels
but-
like their level, like the league's level of marketing depends on who's in the game.
Yes.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you got original six. Watch this game. Please watch this game. Like this game will be on, but say like the Stadium Series this year at MetLife Stadium,
Yeah.
they're like, it's happening, I guess. Like we're not going to tell you what time it's on
Dude,
it, but
it
it's
hasn't
there.
happened yet, and I'm like, oh my god, this is still happening.
When their biggest marketing ploy is just their jerseys, they're cooked.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And when the jerseys are not good,
Yep.
well,
So,
two of them were good, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
when
that's
are those
what-
games? Can you tell me without even looking? When are those games?
Ooh,
Uh,
hold on.
Okay,
That's
Nick,
what we're gonna
go,
do.
go.
I'm gonna try and pull them up.
No,
what
let
are
me
you
do it.
look-
Let me do it, and you
Okay.
guys guess. That
Okay,
we're gonna run
hold
it
up.
this time like that.
Hold up.
Because I know the
Any
teams.
guesses?
I just don't know. Okay, Saturday.
Because there's two games, right?
Wait, this Saturday?
Yeah, Sat and Sunday.
It's this
There's
week.
2 games.
I don't know. You
Weekend.
guys tell me. I have it up here. You tell me. When do you think these games are?
Wait, they're gonna put on the outdoor games during the NBA All Star break. What the fuck?
You tell me when you think these games are, and what time.
So Saturday. Oh, I'm gonna go Eastern time. So what, like 7:30?
All right, Nick.
Saturday. Ooh. 7:30. I think 7:30 might be a little early, but I guess they want to get the sunset. You know what? Just to be different, Matt, I'm gonna say fuck you. I'm gonna say 8 o'clock.
All right. The first game between the Devils and Flyers is this Saturday. You guys are right. So it is already this weekend. I had no idea, and it is 8 p.m. Which, if I'm not mistaken,
Ah!
is during the NBA All-Star festivities.
Yeah, this week's the NBA All Star game, All Star break.
Come on. And then, okay, and then obviously the game is on Sunday. They're not separating.
Matinee. This has to be a matinee, right?
I don't know. You tell me. It is between
3.
the Rangers and the Islanders. Should be a good one.
3 Eastern.
Fuck you. I was gonna say 3 Eastern.
You could say the same thing.
Okay, I'm also gonna say 3 Eastern. Then.
It is at 3 Eastern.
Okay.
Which,
okay.
if I'm not mistaken, is during the NBA All-Star festivities.
No, because the
No,
NBA
they're
All-Star
evening, they're
game would
evening.
be the evening.
Yes, they do. They do in the evening.
Oh, they do?
They're
Okay,
normal.
okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's normal.
It's
I was
they're
mistaken.
not
I wasn't
lame.
familiar with your game.
Matt, if you hadn't said it's this weekend, I wouldn't have known.
I didn't know it was this
Okay.
weekend. I had no idea until I Googled it, and I was like, oh, February 17th. That is
That's
this
crazy.
weekend.
Actually
That's
crazy.
late.
Well, there was an outdoor game one year on like March 1st.
Yeah, I know, but I'm
Yeah,
just...
next year there'll be another one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway,
There you go.
that's
Is it
awesome.
gonna be any good? No.
No, it'll be great. It'll be great. Look. All right, let's do some quick hits real quick.
Yeah.
Connor Bedard is back tonight. He missed a bunch of games with a what was it a jaw injury?
Broken
I don't know if
jaw.
he broke it. Yeah, broke it. Did he break it?
Yeah, did you hear that he couldn't shoot pucks because his, I guess everyone's like reaction to shooting pucks is to clench your jaw. So
Yeah.
he literally couldn't shoot pucks for a while.
Well, based on the All-Star game, he also couldn't pass. So
Well,
I'm playing.
maybe that's why.
I'm playing. But yeah. So Bedard's back. That's cool. Can Bedard come back today and still win Rookie of the Year?
He can.
Sure. Well, I mean, it's Bedard. The league will shoehorn it for him.
Matt's so pissed over.
I don't think there's
Ab-
like a Panarin this year to McDavid.
Brock Faber,
No.
baby. Brock Faber, baby.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
I don't think there is, but that's just me. I just don't think there is anybody stealing the thunder. I feel like everyone's still talking about Bedard, and he's putting up good points. Like even if he,
Also,
yeah,
a lot of the good rookies are on like irrelevant teams.
yeah, that's
Like
probably
respectively
fair.
to like Lucas Carlson
Yeah,
and Brock Faber, it's like
who is really
Isn't-
good by the way, but both of them.
Isn't Carlson on like a load management thing too?
yeah, they're
Isn't
not
that what-
playing him.
yeah.
every
They're not
game.
playing him every
Yeah.
game, yeah.
But
Which
he's been,
I
like-
think is actually quite smart because we're seeing, like, if you look at Matthew Nyes in Toronto, maybe he could use that.
Yeah, that's I remember they talked about it with Austin Matthews' first year, like when he was slowing down. They're like, yeah, the college schedule or every other schedule outside of the NHL. He was playing college, or he was playing in Switzerland, but like every schedule outside of the NHL is so different than the NHL schedule in terms of like games, travel, all that stuff. So that could be a thing.
I
So,
think that
yeah,
might be
Bedard's
why,
back.
just a tidbit, like, I've been thinking about this recently. It might be why, like, for nothing, like, not based on skill, I feel like more people out of the CHL make the NHL quicker, just because I feel like the schedule is a little similar to the NHL. Like, there's more games and travel and stuff like that. I feel like the college schedule isn't that. Like, it's very different if you make that jump like Nyes just did. So, I don't know.
Or like coming out of like the USHL.
Yeah, like it's very different. I feel like,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
skill is definitely there, but I feel like if you play like in the OHL, for example, you might already be used to like traveling all the time and playing multiple games a week.
Yeah.
So
Or
I don't know.
three.
Yeah,
I
but
was just thinking about that,
isn't the OHL mostly like a weekend league though?
but not always. No, play Mondays sometimes, Thursdays
right.
here and there, and then there's travel, right? So if you play like if you're Mississauga, for example, you play North Bay on Thursday, you got to travel like 4 hours. So, and then you're bouncing. You'll probably do a loop, but you're gone. You're traveling and you're playing games, right? So it is mostly the weekends, but still.
At the end of the day, yeah, we'll see how that. The load management, especially Anaheim, realizing they stink, so that should be that's good for them. Next up we have Darius, someone that we love very much, is in Vancouver.
Oh, let's go.
So what's the story there?
Yeah, Phil Kessel is practicing with the Abbotsford Heat, which is the AHL affiliate of
The
Vancouver
Abbotsford Canucks, Darius?
Canucks. Sorry, oh my goodness, I'm so
You're
used to
cool.
that.
You're
Can you
cool.
blame me? They changed these teams change names every 2 years, bro. Can you blame me? Anyway, Abbotsford Canucks, practicing with them, affiliate of the Canucks. So they haven't officially said they're signing him, but it's like maybe. And and at the same
Let's see
time,
what you got, Phil.
yeah, let's see what you got, right? I think it's good that he's, I'm sure he's been training, but at least he's in practice getting reps and stuff with, AHL players and stuff like that. So, I don't know. They might sign him, and I feel like that's going to be a crazy signing if Vancouver adds Phil Kessel for nothing. He's a proven winner, and the Canucks are going for it this year, man. It's going to be crazy. But I think no matter what, even if the Canucks decide not to sign him or whatever happens there, I cannot believe Phil Kessel hasn't been signed because this guy's a winner. He can score you goals. You can put him on your third line, and I'm sure he's not going to demand $5 million or something like.
Because we a league min contract, I
He
can
can
even
do
see him
well
getting
for
like
you.
I can even see him getting like an AHL like tryout just to give him a couple run,
Yeah, yeah.
give him some run down there. And he also said he doesn't care about the Iron Man streak, so that's good as well. And
Well, I don't think he should either at this point. If you want to continue to play, you gotta,
Of course. Another thing I do want to mention is, if I don't think Phil Kessel plays every game for the Vancouver Canucks, similar to how he was deployed in Vegas.
Yeah.
But if someone gets injured on the Canucks and the next man up is Phil Kessel, I like that. To be honest, so that's cool. I hope he gets signed.
I hope he plays somewhere.
Phil, man.
Yeah.
It's Phil.
Yeah, and there's still history with him and Rick Tocchet because Tocchet coached him in Arizona.
Yeah.
And wasn't he assistant in Pittsburgh when he was there?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Didn't they win the Stanley Cup together?
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Tocchet said, he's still got something in the tank.
And I know Phil. I thought I saw this somewhere. I don't know if I'm just like making this up, but I'm pretty sure I saw it somewhere that Phil doesn't like every coach he has. All right, and he likes Rick Tocchet, so I feel like there's something to that.
He loves. Well, didn't he specifically want to go to Arizona to play for Tocchet?
Yes, yeah. So there's something to that. If he likes a coach, like he's a guy that I'm pretty sure does not like every coach. So
I also think Tocchet. I think Tocchet likes him. There's a mutual thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Phil, the thing with Phil is like he's like, I'm me, and you're like, why? People are like, why don't you like do all this other stuff? Like he's like, bro, I come here, I score goals, and I drink Pepsi or whatever, and then that's it.
Well, Phil Kessel look had like a face turn in Pittsburgh. You know
Big time, yeah.
He was a heel in Toronto because we wanted the guy who's like, shouldn't be a number one on the team to be a number one on a Stanley Cup champion, and that was just never gonna happen. So
no, he's a great
that
player.
was cool. But it's for Phil. If I can just open this real quick. 3-time Stanley Cup champion, of course. Vegas, Pittsburgh twice. Last year with Vegas in 82 games played, the guy still had 14 goals, 22 assists, and 36 points. That's solid. If I do say so myself.
Mm-hmm.
Goal scoring has trailed off a little. Shit might happen when you get a little older. The year before that in Arizona, he had 8 goals, but he had 44 assists, which is nuts.
Oh yeah, nuts. Yeah, he was amazing.
So yeah, I think like you said, Darius, Phil still got something to give, and I hope he ends up in Vancouver. I think it'll be good to get him in the playoffs again. Give him some more run.
I think it's a good fit too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So that'll be fun.
No, it'll be good because Vancouver's deep too. The guy doesn't have to play all the time. He can get him when he needs to. Insanely good injury insurance. If the Canucks make a deep run, it'll be good for them. But Matt, let's throw it over to you because
Yes, sir.
Connor McDavid just had an insane night. He had 6 points, all assists. Doesn't want to score goals, unfortunately. So we talked about the Oilers at length on this show. I don't think you need to dive into it that much anymore. They're playing great. They're third in the division now, I think, which is good because the LA Kings, they forgot how to play hockey, which is
Even though they shut us out on Saturday night,
Yeah,
that's the outlier.
I wouldn't worry about that.
And they're
too
still
much,
in a
Matt.
playoff spot somehow. They've been like a bottom feeder for the last like 3 months. But
Yeah,
anyway,
it's brutal. But Matt, my question for you is: McDavid has 6 points. He's not eerily, but he's close to 1,000. He's not. It's not impossible to say he can't still win the Art Ross. So Matt, number one, how close do you think McDavid gets to 1,000 this year? Number two, can Connor McDavid win the Art Ross Trophy, or are the other two guys too far gone?
He's currently 13 points behind, I believe, Nikita Kucherov, because Kucherov's at 90, McDavid is at 77. I mean, McDavid historically been a second half player after the All-Star break. I think he could. I mean, there's no reason he couldn't. You can't count out a guy like Connor McDavid, even when he's 13 points behind.
That's
but currently he's at
McDavid. That's nothing. 13 points. He could do that in 3 games.
Yeah. And then right now he's currently sitting at, I do believe, 927 career points. So 73 points away. I don't think he hits 1,000 this year. I think he hits like 1,000, like maybe before, I don't know, Christmas next season.
Bro, probably even like I could see them doing it in like October.
Yeah.
Like how close do you think he gets? He's at 927 right now. What do you think he gets to? Like 970?
I could, because I mean last year, like 153 points, and he's at like 77 right now.
Right?
Like,
right?
oh,
he had a slow start. McDavid had a slow start because
yeah, very slow start. Yeah, injury. Yeah, I think he gets to like, I don't know, 960 at the very minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Darius, what do you think?
he's not gonna hit 1,000 this year, but he's gonna get really close.
Imagine
You think
if he did so.
960? I know it'd be nuts.
I think more than that. I think it'd be more than dude. That means he'll only get what? 960. He'll only get 33 more points this year, Matt.
Oh, never. Oh, okay.
No, I think he gets like
970.
really close, like 980 or 990.
Yeah, like I think in 970, 980. He'll be there.
Yeah,
He'll be there.
But he won't
Yeah.
like get it. I just feel like his start really hindered him.
If
right?
he started like at a normal McDavid pace, he easily hits 1,000 this year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Which is, dude, Tavares just got 1,000. This guy's been in the league since 2008. It's insane.
I know.
It's insane to think about.
And it's like not even like discredit Tavares because that's still insanely good.
Oh yeah.
But it's like it's saying how good McDavid is.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not discrediting anybody else. I'm saying McDavid is an alien. Like the fact that he's done it in this is his 8th year. I think it's 9th.
Ninth. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Holy fuck,
They've
McDavid's been in the league 9
years.
I'm cooked.
It's amazing how he started the season at 850 points, and everyone's like, "Can you hit 1,000 this year?" It's like,
that's the kind of shit McDavid does, though.
It's
right?
crazy.
It's crazy.
Well, dude, he scored 150 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's insane.
All right.
also, it's important to note, Cody Ceci scored his first goal of the year before Connor Brown.
Wow.
Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Cody Ceci,
also
Hall of Fame.
I don't mean to dunk on the guy, but Bobby McMahon scored 3 goals the other night, and
we didn't talk about that. Yeah.
Connor Brown has 4 points on the year. Not
No,
to dunk on him,
Jake-
but interesting.
Because
Jacob Markstrom has the same amount of points as Connor Brown does this year. Let that sink in.
Oh my God.
I just wanna
Trade bait.
Shout out Bobby McMahon because all the Leafs were shitting their pants literally last game.
Yeah.
So Bobby McMahon, good for him.
Good for him.
Quickly on the McDavid thing. Okay, so the Super Bowl, right? Patrick Mahomes, we know he's a demon, he's a god, all that good stuff. And there was an argument about is Patrick Mahomes the most surefire athlete to be in the Hall of Fame at 27 years old or whatever age he is? And in my head, I was like, that's Connor McDavid, in my opinion. But Connor McDavid doesn't have any championships. So what do you guys think about athletes widespread? Number one, who do you think is the most, like, one of the younger guys, or not even younger, like 28, 27 guys that are guaranteed Hall of Famers? And number two is, who is the best athlete or greatest athlete in their sport right now?
Oh my God.
I think, well, to answer the first one, yeah, it's got to be Mahomes. Like,
Yeah?
3 championships. Does he have an MVP?
Yeah.
Yes.
2018?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Okay, so he's got an MVP.
Dude, he's I was reading his stats. Like, ever since he came into the league, he's like,
It's crazy.
yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and multiple Super Bowl MVPs.
And he was a
Oh,
baseball
yeah.
player.
Yeah.
He's a baseball player. That's so fucking crazy.
But best athlete in their sport right now.
It's Shohei Ohtani. I will say that for me.
Oh, I didn't think about Shohei.
A guy that does those two things that well is fucking. You never. It's like Patrick Mahomes is also like a running back. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
like a wide receiver, and he was like top 5 in both. You know what
I
I
don't
mean?
know, like
So-
an underrated pick here. I'm gonna have to Nikola Jokic. Like watching
That's
him in
good
the
too.
playoffs,
Ooh.
watching him in the playoffs last year, like that dude put up triple doubles like they were nothing.
And the thing is too, I saw some tweets about, bro, last year's playoffs and finals were so boring. I'm like, yeah, because Jokic fucking killed everyone.
Yeah, he was that good.
Yeah.
He was like,
the finals were
I
so
don't,
boring last year. Yeah, because Jokic was beating the shit out of everyone.
yeah.
No matter who he played, he was wrecking shit. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if McDavid's in that conversation though, man.
I feel okay to like Mahomes. I think in
Fourth?
terms of surefire Hall of Famer, it has to be Mahomes because he's doing it in the regular season and now he's getting his Super Bowls, right? Like if you look at other sports, I don't think anyone's like going back to back like this guy is, and I think you just have to give it to him. Even though like he's a great villain, I will say that he's a great villain to like root against in sports. So
It's like LeBron in Miami.
yeah, no, like he's a great. I guess as a kid I was like LeBron, win another chip in Miami. They're the best team ever.
It's like Tom Brady.
Bro,
Like you never
people-
wanted to see Tom
People
win.
hated
no.
Heat LeBron though. Like he was the most hated player in the league.
But I think sports needs like villains like that because it makes you interested. Because otherwise, if it's like, oh, I hope both teams win and both of them deserve the Super Bowl, and it doesn't make for good storylines. I don't like it. So he is a good villain. But in terms of the best player in their sport, it's Connor McDavid. It is. He is so much better than everybody else, all the time, And he might have a slow start to the year. Next year, he'll get 200 points. Like
yeah, who knows?
he is so stupidly good at hockey. He is head and shoulders better than everyone else. So in my opinion, he's the best.
I think something stupid sports fans do is like they'll see a guy go on like a 34, even a one season run, or even a 40, 50 game run. They're like, oh shit, he's challenging blank player for like the best. But dude, McDavid's been doing this for damn near 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's McDavid.
I think
in his sport, respectively.
I think it's interesting too because like the Mahomes thing, everyone's like, oh, he's catching up to Tom Brady, and when you look at it, like he kind of is. But Mahomes has 3 rings. Tom Brady has 7, I think.
Mahomes is like 27 though.
I know he still has time. So if he wants to play until he's like, that's the thing. He has a lot of runway. So if things go his way and he wants to play till he's like 40 or when Tom Brady retired, then yeah, he's lots of opportunities. He's on a better track, right? But he hasn't done it yet.
He's tracking Tom Brady though.
He's tracking.
Yeah, because I think
comparable would be that at his age.
Yeah, because by the time Brady was 27, that would have been 2004, and he had 3 rings at that point too.
Yeah,
which is kind of eerie if you think about it, because 03 and 04, the Pats went back to back.
Yeah.
It was the parallels here, kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I feel like Tom Brady just took over, like in the 2010s. Oh my God.
Dude,
but here's the thing.
Mahomes do it in the 2020s, man. It might
I know.
Decade,
I know.
We'll see about that.
Like Brady's got like 7 rings, and like he had that 10-year gap where he didn't win anything.
Bro, which is fucked.
Yeah,
I was going through his like stats page because I don't really watch football or know too much about it, but I didn't know he didn't win a championship for 10 years.
10 years.
You know why?
So many.
You know why? Because of Eli Manning. That's why he didn't win in that 10-year span.
He went to Super Bowls. That was the thing. He went to Super Bowls, but he didn't win them in that time.
But he lost to some pasty white kid named Eli Manning, and then Peyton beat him in a conference title game. But anyways.
Tom Brady was a pasty white kid.
It's so crazy in sport to look at that. Tom Brady destroys everybody, and it's like the one guy had his number both times. It's so weird. Yeah. So weird to look at.
All right, let's get into the last segment of the show. Not too much to talk about here, in my opinion, but we do like to do a little wrestling segment before we wrap things up here. Matt, what's going on in the last week of wrestling? Something with The Rock, a cool report that came out. I do want to talk about that. So, what's up?
I didn't see the report, but did we go over the press conference last week?
We did talk about it last week, but there's been some stuff since then.
Okay, dear, so I'll let you get into that, but I'll just say that they pivoted, and it's officially Roman Reigns against Cody Rhodes Part 2 at WrestleMania 40.
And before you get into it, there was confirmed reports that we are fully getting The Rock as Hollywood Rock. Like he's fully embracing.
Oh yeah. The
heel mantra. We're gonna get Cody Crybaby's merchandise and all that shit. And I personally, I think I was always excited for the storyline, but I think wrestling fans have all done a 180 on this storyline.
I want to say that like The Rock, he hasn't been The Rock for like 20 years. He's only been Dwayne Johnson your buddy. As your buddy Dwayne for 20 years, because when he came back in like 2011, it wasn't really The Rock. It was more like, hey, movie star that used to be here full time.
Cena, fuck you.
Pretty much that's what it was. But now like this is The Rock to his core. Hollywood Rock. I'm here for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think,
thoughts, yeah.
I think, like personally for me, he's come back a few times over the last like year, and obviously you see it on social media and stuff like that. It's been corny. Like I'm getting bored of it. It's the same Rock shtick where he comes in and he goes the millions and millions and candy ass and all this stuff, and you're like, dude, we've heard this for so many.
Like say something else
for years. Yeah.
The Rock holds the millions in the palm of his hand.
Exactly, and it's
finally
like
The Rock has come back to wherever.
Insert town name here. Yeah, like insert town name here. I'm so glad to be back. And insert poop joke here and about cereal, and like it was getting corny.
I'm gonna stick my boot so far up your ass you won't even. Yeah.
Yeah, the same. It's the same stuff, right? So I feel like this is even more of a spin on the original Hollywood Rock, which was arguably his best gimmick, right? And a lot of people look at it fondly. And this is going to be even more than that because he is quite literally Hollywood Rock now. Like the character back then was like, oh, look, I'm dipping my toe over here and I'm leaving you guys behind.
I'm the Scorpion King.
Yeah, I'm the Scorpion King. Now it's like, I am the highest paid actor in Hollywood and I'm coming back and I'm going to kick everyone's ass because now I'm a stakeholder and
I'm on the board so I can say whatever
I'm on the board so I can
do
whatever I want to you. Like, this is going to be a good character, dude.
It's exciting. For
And I
sure.
think we're wrestling fans, like, you don't always have to give them what they want. In fact, like, sometimes it's good to not do that, especially, like, you know, over the years, like the Undertaker thing and all that stuff. But with this, like, I feel like it was going to get ugly. So the fact that they did pivot, which I think they did because it sounded like, I don't know, everything leading up until the pivot right before the press conference felt like they were headed towards, Cody, go sit over there in the corner and we'll deal with you later, right? But I feel like they pivoted it, and it's going to be great. And I mean, it's people are like, oh, they might still put a spin on it and things could change, you know, on the way to WrestleMania. But there was a Super Bowl commercial. I don't know if you guys saw that, the WrestleMania teaser. And they pretty much were like, yeah, it's Roman and Cody. And I don't know if they would spend that much money on advertising.
Cody wins it this time.
I think he
has
does.
to.
No. I think he does, because then I think The Rock is back, like, for a bit.
Like he's gonna do like a whole like thing to like SummerSlam, I think.
Because if you look at it, when he came back in 2011, he came back to host, because they were doing that whole hosting shit on Raw, that weird era. So he came back to host WrestleMania. Then they set up a great storyline a year in advance where he could face Cena. It was once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime, maybe three times in a lifetime. Who knows? And and they set that up great. But he was never around in between. He would show up here and there, and Cena would cook him, and that was it, right? But
fine speech.
And then he'd rub his bald spot. Classic Cena.
Yeah.
And then puts his out back on.
But now, The Rock, let's make no mistake about it. We can say whatever word we want. He was basically fired from DC. They completely restructured everything now with James Gunn. They didn't like where he was taking it. So they got rid of him. So it's not like he's done with movies, but everything he was kind of building towards kind of fell apart in the last year. And
He also doesn't need to do anything in movies anymore.
no, and he is like, obviously he took that role as he's executive with TKO now. Like, I think he's here. I think he's invested for at least 2 or 3 years now. I'm not saying he's going to wrestle on a weekly basis, but I feel like Cody's going to finally win the title, finish his story, take us on a ride with the title, and build a new story, a new legacy. And Rock and Roman are going to figure out their bloodline stuff in the meantime. And I think it's going to be like a couple years of build. It's going to be crazy.
Roman's going to be like, Dwayne, you distracted me. And then The Rock will be like, fuck you, or some shit. And then, there you go. I just wrote it. So,
there you go.
That'll be interesting to follow. But, guys, let's wrap the show there. It was a good, fun show, as usual. Hope everyone enjoyed if you were watching. If you did enjoy it, click like on the video. Follow us on all our socials, Instagram, TikTok. Subscribe on YouTube, of course. Darius, we usually do a show, but you have a new show out every week. Tell everyone what that show is about as quickly as you can.
Yeah, as quick as I can. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So it's Steelheads Weekly. Me and Mark Freitas. We're talking about the OHL's Mississauga Steelheads Weekly. Obviously, it's in the title. And yeah, just everything from, weekend recaps to weekend previews, everything in between. Obviously, they're relocating, so there's a lot to talk about with that. It's going to be a busy summer and busy like training camp and all that. So, I mean, they're moving 10 minutes up the road, but still, it's a story. But yeah, lots of moving parts, and tune in. It's good. We just had Roger Lajoie on last week, so that was great. And check out that episode.
Yeah.
What's on tap for the Steelheads this weekend, Darius?
This weekend, it's pretty interesting. They have an odd schedule. Usually they play at home on Fridays and Sundays. This week it's different. They're on the road Friday, and then they're at home on Saturday at 4 p.m. They started throwing in Saturday games in mid-afternoon now, which is interesting. And then they have their annual Family Day game, so that's great. So if you're in the area, go check that out. It's a Nick Hague bobblehead day. Stanley Cup champion Nick Hague. And, yep.
Is he gonna be there?
We were looking at the schedule, and I don't think it's possible. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that, but you never know. Maybe he would make an appearance, because I think they are in Canada. I was looking at the schedule a while ago. They're in Canada, but I just didn't think it made sense for him to show up. But yeah, it's Nick Hague bobblehead day on Monday, Family Day.
Yeah, a little late for that, no?
Yeah, so, yep.
What day is Family Day again? This Monday?
This Monday the 19th, yeah.
They're in San Jose, so he will not.
Wow. Okay, never mind. So that makes no sense.
Hey man, they're in Toronto.
San Jose, Canada.
They're in Toronto.
Later in the
Thursday
week, right?
Next week.
Yeah,
Thursday next week.
Yeah.
They should have just waited.
Morgan Riley will be back that day, so that'll be fun.
You know what's crazy? Darius, they could have done it like Saturday the 25th or Friday the 24th, because the Leafs are in Vegas, not the other way around. But Vegas is in Ottawa Saturday the 24th. So they could have just, you know what, man? That's not.
I'm not behind the marketing there, and the only reason I would see them doing it Monday is because usually on Family Day there is an uptick in attendance because people are off and there's not much to do. Well, I mean, you can find things to do, but that is a thing to do.
There's not a lot to do in Mississauga.
So yeah, and so that's the only reason I could see that being the bobblehead day on that day. But yeah, I feel like he's in the area the next week. So
yeah,
It's for the kids, serious.
it is for the
Get him
kids.
in
Yeah.
there. The kids don't know who Nick Hag is.
He's Stanley Cup champion, Nick Hag. What are you talking about?
Oh, the
Like
disrespect of Nick
in a
Hag.
Steelheads context. That was a goat.
He played for the Steelheads.
Best Steelheads defenseman ever.
Easily one of the best defensemen in OHL history.
Yeah, literally.
I think he still holds. I think
points
the
record-
most.
The points record?
Not the points. It was definitely goals in a season. I don't know if he has a record, but he's definitely
Dude, he was
there.
a dog.
It's 35,
Anyway,
35 goals as a defenseman.
Anyway, let's wrap the show there, everyone. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching so far. If you're watching or listening in the day, have a great day. If you're watching or listening in the night, have a great night. If you're listening while driving, guys, always drive safe. For me, for Matt, for Darius, for everyone at the Gritcast, which is just us three. Have a great week, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace out, everyone.
For more content, visit our YouTube channel and check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow the guys on social media at Matt_Mondays, at Nick LaFlame, and at Darius Dominguez.